So getting to your relationship with Mike Keiser, you go to school. Now, where did you go to college?
I went to Yale.
Heard of it.
And I
Excellent.
wouldn't be able to get in these days. I'll hasten to say that.
I think that's what every alumni says. I'd like to think that someone who sold 500 million greeting cards could get into Yale. Or 70 million books would look good on an application. How do you go from Yale educated to drawing pictures of these funny, big-eyed, fluffy-tailed animals?
Well, I've always been drawing since I was little, but the way it became a profession, which I didn't intend, was I was trying to help pay my way through school as an undergraduate. And one summer I did the usual waitressing thing, and it was my loathing of being a waitress, and I tried really hard, I just wasn't good at it, that made me the next summer say, I need to figure out a way to work for myself, and I need to figure out something I can do that might sell. And my uncle was a printer in upstate New York, so he extended me the credit that he would print these greeting cards. They're very, very small, sort of gift enclosure cards. And so I did them as outlines because it would have too expensive to print in color. And then I hand painted over the summer 70,000 gift enclosures. When I say hand painted and it was that many, it's true.
Wow.
But it was basically a wash of color on each, meaning just almost personal assembly line, dip brush, wash, dip brush, wash, dip,
Sure.
But then I also sold them. I traveled around, drove around visiting friends up and down the East Coast, and then I'd go to their local stores and sell them. So by the time I graduated, a year later, I had a small business going, and that's when I went to a trade show at the New York Coliseum, and that's where I met Mike Keiser and his partner, Phil Friedman. They liked my cards, and I liked them, and the rest is golfing history.
It literally is golfing history. So you meet Mike Keiser at the trade show. He likes what you're doing. When you decide, as you're making your deal versus, $50 a design, that you said, well, how about a royalty situation? And boy, as we mentioned, 500 million cards later, that was a good decision.
So they basically offered me a deal right away. And he said, we pay $50 a card. And I said, oh, well, my cards sell better than that, so I would like a royalty. And he said, well, we could do that. We've never done that. He said, but I think you might make less money. And I said, that's fine. If my cards aren't selling well enough that I don't make $50 in the royalty, then I don't want you to pay me more than that anyway. So
yeah.
The thing that was so unusual about Mike and Phil is they were just as iconoclastic as I was. They were pretty old at the time. I think they were like 26 or something, so they'd been around.
Right.
But they had no problem saying, sure, why not? And so they were so fun to work with on everything too. Huh. And, they thought of everything fresh. And this is the way, of course, Mike still is. My son was just talking about Mike this morning, saying he remembered from Dream Golf, where it talks about, Mike buying, land for cash. And people kept saying, well, this is odd. But Mike perceived and perceives things absolutely independently of convention and of received wisdom. And heck, that's the kind of person you want to work with. I learned so much from Mike. I still learn so much from Mike. Yeah, he's extraordinary.